Penguin Audio presents Democracy Matters, Winning the Fight Against Imperialism, written and read by Cornel West. To 5 great Democratic teachers. Martin Kielsen, pioneering Harvard professor, lifelong mentor, and towering black intellectual. Preston Williams, path-blazing Harvard professor, grand exemplar of the legacy of Martin Luther King, Jr., and dear godfather. Sheldon Wolin, sterling Princeton professor, blessed thesis advisor, and the greatest theorist of democracy in our time. Stanley Aronowitz, grand public intellectual, lifelong comrade, and fellow lover of deep democracy. Delon Zaytoon West, beloved daughter, bearer of elegant style and the source of great joy and love. Chapter 1. Democracy Matters are frightening in our time. We have frequently printed the word democracy, yet I cannot too often repeat that it is a word the real gist of which still sleeps quite unawakened, notwithstanding the resonance and the many angry tempests out of which its syllables have come from pen or tongue. It is a great word, whose history, I suppose, remains unwritten because that history has yet to be enacted. Walt Whitman, Democratic Vistas, 1871. To be an Afro-American or an American black is to be in the situation intolerably exaggerated of all those who have ever found themselves part of a civilization which they could in no wise honorably defend, which they were compelled indeed endlessly to attack and condemn, and who yet spoke out of the most passionate love, hoping to make the kingdom new, to make it honorable and worthy of life. James Baldwin, No Name in the Street, 1972. A decade ago, I wrote Race Matters in order to spark a candid public conversation about America's most explosive issue and most difficult dilemma: the ways in which the vicious legacy of white supremacy contributes to the arrested development of American democracy. This book, the sequel to Race Matters, will look unflinchingly at the waning of democratic energies and practices in our present age of the American empire. There is a deeply troubling deterioration of democratic powers in America today. The rise of an ugly imperialism has been aided by an unholy alliance of the plutocratic elites and the Christian right, and also by a massive disaffection of so many voters who see too little difference between two corrupted parties, with blacks being taken for granted by the Democrats and with the deep disaffection of youth. The energy of the youth support for the Howard Dean campaign and avid participation in the recent anti-globalization protests are promising signs, however, of the potential to engage them. As I've traveled across this country giving speeches and attending gatherings for the past 30 years, I've always been impressed by the intelligence, imagination, creativity, and humor of the American people, then found myself wondering how we end up with such mediocre and milquetoast leaders in public office. It's as if the best and brightest citizens boycott elected public office, while the most ambitious go into the private sector. In a capitalist society, that is where the wealth, influence, and status are. But we've always been a capitalist society, and we've had some quality leaders in the past. Why the steep decline? As with sitcoms on television, the standards have dropped so low, we cannot separate a joke from an insult. When Bush smiles after his carefully scripted press conferences of little substance, we do not know whether he's laughing at us or getting back at us as we laugh at him, as the press meanwhile hurries to concoct a story out of his cliches and shibboleths. In our market-driven empire, elite salesmanship to the demos has taken the place of genuine democratic leadership. The majority of voting-age citizens do not vote.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?